Well, the McDonald family is on its way home from Dayton. We stopped quickly to have a bite to eat in Columbus. Kids were getting a little hungry. I was getting a little hungry. It was a long day for everybody. And I was going to say not the day I thought it would be, but truthfully speaking, when I look at the horses that I expected to do good today, the only horse that was supposed to win was Time Is On My Side, and he did. Everybody else, we were hopeful. Brace for Landing had raced in 5 weeks, Pickpocket 4 weeks, Rock Shining Star had the 5 or 6 hole, back to the Meadows. Now, I thought Dave Pallone was driving him. Dave didn't make it back to the track in time, so Justin Walters drove him. I know he was just being careful with him. A lot of the times, when you leave the middle of the gate in any race, and especially the open races, you don't want to leave with Rock Shining Star. There's a lot of killers in there. You know that Mike's horse can leave like a runner. Everybody inside's protecting position, but you have to also sometimes. And I know that Hunter left out of there, and Justin just drove him around, and he finished hard. I don't know what his last quarter was, but it was a big flurry on the end of the mile to get up for 4th or 5th. I thought he raced really well. Those 2 horses had shots. Everybody else had some baggage, right? No, Chevron's bypassed it on that baggage. Jason and I talked about it after the race. Listen, I thought Luke Ebersol did a tremendous job his first start with her. Then last week took her off the gate. Tonight again, ducks her. And maybe he wasn't feeling it tonight. I don't know, but I really thought he would have blasted her out of there in that position tonight. Now, Keith Cash has got the rail with his own horse. The 2 horses leaving hard with the young man driving him. I can't remember his name. He's right across the barn from us. Jesus, I have a bad memory sometimes. He's going out of there. And Luke ducks. And she just didn't look the same. She looked the same as she did last week. Inferior. Not the way she looked the first start when he let her sail. And I would have liked to see him leave, but as I said, I'm not sitting behind her. I don't know what he was feeling leaving the gate. I suspect I'll be sitting behind her next week, wherever she happens to race. There is a class in Dayton next week, I believe. But again, a lot going on next week. I didn't even tell everybody. Tactical Mount, she's going, man. We'll talk about her in a minute. That was a very good mile. We'll talk about her in a second. Memento Mori has come back. Now, I did offer the opportunity for Eric to go to New Jersey with Memento Mori. He wanted to focus on and finish off Kentucky. He's very admirable of him. I appreciate that. Jason's going to take the horse there because Scott was a little undecided. Listen, Megan's going to get her chances. Megan works hard and deserves everything she gets. She's she's a good horse person and loves the horses. Exactly what we want to see in any of her trainers, right? And Scotty has another horse that he's driving, Linda Toscano's horse, and I think he's undecided. If they get in together, I don't know what he's going to do. So Jason is going to take Tactical Mounts to the Meadowlands and race him in the Breeders' Crown next Friday. Tactical Mounts will be in the Breeders' Crown. That was a big race from her tonight. I'll wait till the end because I was thoroughly impressed. 1, with what Scotty did on a number of fronts, and I'll tell you in a minute. And 2, how the filly raced. That was, you don't see a horse come from last on a half-mile track to just get photoed out. She might have been 4th, but she was beat a whisker. And people say, all I needed was 2 lengths. All she needed was 2 feet to win the race. She was screaming on the end of it. And those are open trotters. Those aren't mares even. Those are open horses and geldings. Good horses. Battle-ready animals. And that was a big mile from her tonight. So we're going to start tonight. We're going to start talking about what took place. Brace for Landing. I got most of everything I wanted my way on the front. The young man there run me coming to the half a little bit, but I only went and I'll tell you what, they have to measure that first quarter at Dayton. There is an impossible. Listen, I drive horses too for a living. I would love to have the input of Dan Noble or Chris Page or Brett. That quarter just seems super short to me. I mean, I had them in walk mode over there, and we were over there. It flashes up 27-1. It's impossible. It doesn't feel it. I'm not saying the mile is short, but that pole seems to me that it's 2, 3, 4 pylons short. Might be three lengths short. The first quarter. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. Brace for Landing up there 27-1. I was backing them up. Eric was parked on the outside. I can't let him go. He sits out there. We go 56-3. Pretty fair fractions. Down the backstretch, I see the only horse I had to beat, Flip 3 Deep. I asked Brace for a little bit. Nothing left in the cupboard. He circled up around me, put the last nail in the coffin, and everybody. It felt for a second coming out of the last turn like he was actually going to fight on and be 1-2, and then just faltered in the last 100 yards and was picked off. Like I said, 7th, place 6, but beat 2 lengths, not 2.5, not 2 1/4, 2 lengths. It's hard to fit 6 horses into 2 lengths. They did 7 horses. He was 7th, place 6th. Raced very, very good for being off 5 weeks. You can train them up all you want, but he needed to be at 95 to 100% tonight. He was close, 2 lengths close. He just wasn't quite there. And if we can get him in next week, I suspect he'll give them all they want next week. We'll see. Pickpocket was next. Trained well the other day. Did show a little bit of blood training. There was that concern. He had the 8 hole. Now, I'll be honest. I've been happy how he's been training. How he raced. Aside from his last race, he was quite flat in Kentucky. Quite frankly, his hobbles were tight tonight. As I go under the wire, I loosened them to where I thought they should have been the whole mile, and looked after, and they were 3 holes difference. Somebody said to me the other day, I hear you say you pulled them in a hole, 2 holes. Does it really make a difference? Okay, do me a favor. About 6 o'clock at night after you had supper, pull your belt in 3 holes. Tell me how that feels. It's quite a difference sometimes. Some horses, 1 to 2 holes, not a big deal. And some horses not. If you watch the bike, it was rocking pretty good in the mile. The hobbles were tight. He did hit the 8 hole. He was short, and he was coming in off a training trip where he did show a tiny bit of blood. So was 7th beat 5 or 6 or 8 or whatever it was shocking? No. And he will bounce back just fine. I'll tell you what he is, as sound as $1 right now. So hopefully, I'd like to get those 2 guys back in next week. We got to find a spot for Memory and Imagination also. I want to and suspect and hope that next week he can win that class, send him packing over to, I assume, Ontario, and then move one of Memory and Imagination, Pickpocket, or Brace into Campy Brace. He's got 2 numbers of 5, but not more than 8. Brace does not fit it. Pickpocket, the other horse, does. I think that actually is numbers of 10, isn't it? In which case Brace would fit it. One of those 3, 2 will hopefully go to Dayton, and the other one will go to the Meadows the week after next. So those 2 horses, although I really thought they were tight enough, they weren't. You can't sit for 5 weeks, come off the bench, and go and win. It's not that easy. They both did what they could tonight. I was not disappointed with their efforts, but we do need to get them in the next right after this in a week. Rock Shining Star, as I said, Justin just took the horse off the gate, raced him on the end of it. He could have raced him. Now that he knows him a little better, fine. He may get an opportunity to at some point. If I'm there next time he races, which that depends on who gets in at Dayton next week, he'll be raced. I can assure you of that. He looked fluid tonight. He looked good. Jason and Tim got him good. Jason had him good in Dayton, and Tim had him looking good tonight, so that's good. Now, the one frustrating part of the evening was Spitfire Overseas. I'm surprised. I've only got 4, maybe 5 emails about this tonight, when I thought the box would be full. I thought the email box would be full of concerns, questions, frustration. I was a little angry. I think I get angry at Abe and Ollie for fighting in the car or something, and then just trying to relive Pickpocket and Brace for Landing, and then I get a call from Stacy saying the judges just made me take the hobbles off Spitfire Overseas. I said, what the hell are you talking about? She goes, he doesn't show qualifying with hobbles on. And so here's the thing, they changed the rule in Ohio now to you can take the hobbles on it, which they should do. Now, there are some important parts to that rule. You have to enter the way you want to race, and once it's carded, you can't change it. So once it's in the program, you can't change it. Same way they do it in New York. I was in New York one day when they made people bring horses in. In fact, we had to one time with a horse take the hobbles off the horse. Because when you go into a qualifier, it's much more laid back atmosphere. So obviously, when Stacy showed me the entry in the qualifier with hobbles on, they did not chart Spitfire Overseas with qualifying with hobbles. I never noticed. Why would I notice? Stacy never even noticed. When she entered the horse, because the horse showed qualifying without hobbles, that box was already unchecked in the entry form, the electronic entry form. She just entered the horse, same as she always would, because this is the first year. This is the first year that they do this now. Before, you couldn't make changes. There's no check a box, not check a box. You qualified with them on, they're on. Qualify them with off, they're off. There's no interchangeable. The rule was not there before. Somehow, the horse shows qualifying without hobbles, which he most definitely did. Therefore, when she entered him, he was automatically entered without hobbles on. She never thought about it, never checked it. Doesn't matter. So again, as it happens many times in this industry, common sense did not prevail, and he was forced to race a horse that has never, not one time in his life, not one time has he ever gone a fast mile, let alone raced without hobbles on, was forced to go out and race without hobbles on. Now they fined Stacy, I believe, for however they wanted to write it up, and then she sent me a screenshot of the horse entered to qualify with hobbles on. Well, if that's the case, you can find somebody. You better look somewhere else, because that's unfair. So I was livid. Just sat down to eat supper with the kids, and I was fuming. Brett got him around, trot a mile 58. Not bad for a horse that's never ever trained without hobbles on in his life, a fast mile. Maybe Megan did or Stacy did. I know I never did. Tried to train him one time without hobbles on, and I'm sure he was fine because he's a worker. I can assure you he's never been in a race situation without hobbles on. So the fact that he went out and trotted was amazing. Trot a mile 58, he beat a country mile. So, what are you going to do? You would think in a perfect world, all you do is pull up the qualifiers and look and say, oh my God, obviously the horse qualified with hobbles on. Then what you do from there is you simply say, number whatever, 4 or 5, Spitfire, number whatever his number was, did qualify with hobbles on and will be racing with hobbles on. There's no changes needed. And that's where common sense would come in. That didn't take place today. Now, to be fair to the judges, maybe they didn't have time. Obviously, they noticed in the post-parade that he showed qualifying without them and is on the track with hobbles on. And it's not their job, I guess, if I'm going to play devil's advocate. It's not their job to ensure that the horse is the hobble sign beside him. They don't have to go back and watch the qualifiers. It's up to us. So although this could have went two ways. One, it is up to Stacy to make sure that that box is checked. It happens. I can assure you she won't be the last one that this happens to in Ohio. As I said, I watched it happen in New York in stake races where I was just befuddled. I couldn't understand that they were going to force. It happened with one of our horses. A 2-year-old trotter went to Saratoga, was entered in to go. The judges made him come in and take the hobbles off, which I wasn't surprised because I saw them do it one time to 2 horses on a card in Monticello, of all places. I believe it might have been Saratoga. So there are 2 sides to it. One, there is some culpability on Stacy's part, but common sense could have fixed the whole thing. Could have just taken a second, pulled up the qualifier. You can see the trotting hobbles. It's very easy to see. It'd be like somebody walking through a crowd with a red hat on. It's really easy to see. Okay, clearly make an announcement. The horse did qualify with hobbles on. and will be qualifying with hobbles, or will be racing with hobbles tonight. It's not the end of the world. That didn't happen. Whatever, it's done. What are you going to do? Turn the page. It's done. Horse will race next week. He needed a start anyway, I guess. Not really the start we wanted. But he needed a start. He got it. Turn the page. Time Is on My Side was fantastic. I would have liked to see 26-4 on the end of it instead of the third quarter, but he had the earplugs in, and halfway down the lane, he kind of shook the lines at him, and he looked strong to me. Finished up good. Raced awesome. 50-3, 28 flat, last half 54-4. I thought the horse looked really, really good. He's going into the Meadowlands Sharp's attack for the Breeders' Crown. Now, we talked about next Friday. Memento Mori. A few little questions answered. I don't think it'll be possible to race him barefoot for the elimination in the final. They break their feet up way too much in the Meadowlands. Not the same surface. Now, I would be okay, I suspect, with racing him in the final if he made the final. But here's the problem. If you roll the dice and race him without them in the elimination, you might be sore in the final. So, Jason's going to race our horse. Hopefully Scotty's going to drive him next week, next Friday. We have a lot of horses racing on Fridays now. Dayton, I just talked about the horses. Will have in Friday. Or the Meadows. Now, obviously, Time won't be in next Friday. Rock Shining Star will. A couple others. Meadowlands, and then potentially Northfield. I don't know. I suspect so. Next Saturday, I suspect we'll have Time Is on My Side. And Tactical Mounts will race next Saturday. I'm excited about that. So we have 3 horses heading to the Breeders' Crown. We have, I got to circle back with Kelly. I believe we have 12 seats for Friday's races. I don't want to get them mixed up. I believe we have 12 seats at the Meadowlands in the restaurant for Friday's races, and we have a box on Saturday, or vice versa. I'm not sure. Kelly's going to have to clarify that for me, and we'll get that squared away for everybody. Those are for the finals. We're going to get to the finals first, but those are for the finals. Chevron's Bypass, as I said, a little disappointed with that effort this evening. But one of the most impressive miles I've seen in a while was from Tactical Mounts. I told you guys, and I told Megan too, and she knew it, but it's not one of those things that goes without saying. It does need to be said sometimes. You do need to be reassured. It can't be great all the time. And it's astonishing that she come back with the effort she did tonight. I don't care about the time. I don't even know what the final time was. Those are good horses. Scotty gets away 5th, and I loved... it looked like he could have dropped those guys in going to the quarter pole, and he filled the hole on them. It was great. Coming out of the last turn, you don't come from 7th at Yonkers. Now, I don't watch a ton of Yonkers, but I can honestly say I've never seen a horse come from 7th to win, and she almost got there. That was an impressive finish from an impressive mare. So great job by Megan. Quick turnaround, bounced right back. Good horses bounce back, and she definitely bounced back. She looked great tonight. A great job by Megan, and a great job by Scotty. Just a tremendous drive from him. So it really wasn't a horrible night. We had 2 horses that, truthfully speaking, were going to be short, and they were. We had one horse that was in a tough spot in the open. Young driver, middle of the gate, speed inside of him. Got away last, was absolutely explosive on the end of it, finishing 5th. He'll be fine next week. Time Is on My Side was amazing. Spitfire, I was going to say it's one of those things. It shouldn't happen. It did. It was not the end of the world. It was a mistake, an honest mistake on Stacy's part. One that could have been corrected quite easily, I believe, on the part of the judges. They chose not to. So poor Spitfire had to race without hobbles tonight. Chevron's Bypass. Got to get her going. No more getting away 6th or 7th with that filly. Not in those classes. The Tactical Mounts was absolutely fantastic. So really, not a bad night at all. Now, tomorrow morning, Oliver's baseball tournament. I'm eager to see how that's going to be. Aunt Lily, Freedom Hill are in the final, not the consolation. Chicago Hall is in a final. We have 3 horses racing for $300,000 tomorrow. 3 different horses. And then JK Victory ends the night. Sunday is going to be a big day for us also. Westland Warrior, Gymboree, Gaslight Hall, Grand Slam Dio. Gorgeous package, 6 to 5 from the rail, going for $100,000. That's interesting. Sunset Acres Girl is going to race her last start for us, I believe, in Casanova Hall. On Monday, we have Arson. As I said, Todd McCarthy is going to drive him from the rail 5 to 2 morning line, so that's good. Memory and Imagination is scratched on Monday. He didn't make a trip to Kentucky. Didn't train great. He's dull, a little bit sick, or getting over something, but not great. He's scratched on Monday. Looks like money in Yo Mister. So that is the rest of your weekend into Monday. We're about 20 minutes from home right now. I'll talk to you all very soon. I hope you had a decent night. I'll tell you what, very proud of Time Is On My Side. Very proud of Tactical Mounds. Both looked awesome. Big day tomorrow again. Take care.